motorsports world, when you combine sheer beauty with pure speed, you get Virginia International Raceway. Add the supercars and stars of the Pirelli World Challenge Championship, and you have racing the way it should be. The Grand Prix of Virginia is next.
Welcome, everyone, here to Virginia International Raceway for the Pirelli World Challenge Grand Prix of Virginia, presented by Audi Sport. I'm Jeff Lepper, joining the booth here with Calvin Fish. And Calvin, it's GT Sprint X action set here on this beautiful circuit, Virginia International Raceway.
Well, this is an old-school racetrack, extremely challenging. It will bite you. You really will have to pay attention around this racetrack. We've seen a lot of drama already here this weekend. Sprint X competition, 60-minute race, mandatory pit stop between 25 and 35 minutes in. You're going to see a 4-tire change, a driver change, plenty of action here today.
Oh, this great facility here at VIR. Well, what better way to see it is behind the wheel of a car for our Porsche track preview.
What was that?
Michael Christensen here on Virginia International Raceway, driving with Allegra Motorsports in a Porsche 911 GT3R. Coming up towards turn 1, hard braking zone. You usually want to do a bit of a V-style here as the exit is keep turning, and in order to get on the power well here you need to be quite straight and therefore improving the traction here. Double left-hander, quite tricky. Balance coming in. It's important to use all the track width in the exit. Important to get the apex curve here on all of these sweepers, as it's important to keep the flow through there all along the back straight. It's a long straight, so all the momentum you can keep through this is important, and the line through here is very crucial for the last left-hander coming up here, 1 gear down, and early on power is crucial due to the elevation change. Braking hard up to the last 2 right-hand corners before the back straight. Really important to get early on power down the back straight, as it's very long time full throttle. So each kilometer an hour you can exit this corner better, will gain you all the way down the straight. So coming up to probably the hardest braking point on the track. It turns a little bit to the left as well as being bumpy. You see my rear end is stepping out a little bit, and yeah, try to keep it tight around the right hander in order to get on power well through the next left. So the last corner is very tricky as well. A bit downhill, use some curb and a compression in the end while turning. The most important thing here is just to keep the momentum. This is one lap with Michael Christensen on Virginia International Raceway.
Well, some of the great shots here as you see our grid lining up for the GT category. That's a heck of a lap here at VIR, Calvin.
Wow, it is mind-blowing how you can just drop a wheel here and be immediately in trouble. It really keeps the boys on their toes. And these two guys, Soule and Baptista, what a day they had here yesterday.
When we talk about this track at VIR, looking at our Porsche race analysis, Calvin, Virginia International Raceway, this 3.27-mile course, 15-turn, what a great track.
It is. Lots of elevation change. It's relatively narrow in certain parts of the racetrack. When you get traffic throughout the course of this race, you got to be careful and pick your place where you're going to make that move. But it takes high commitment. But the fact that you're doing that mandatory 4-tire change midway through this race, it means that tire pressures, they're really going to be really exaggerated in the start of this race. They don't have to save the tires and hand it over to your teammate in good shape. You can basically use them up during your stint and just go for it.
Well, 60-minute race with 2 different drivers during that driver change, and that's what's going to play out here, Cal, between 25 and 35 minutes. But the pros that are running now, or so to speak, pro in the Pro-Am category, they're actually starting the race and hand those over to the AMs in our Pro-Am category to finish off the race.
Yeah, but when you look at some of these driver pairings, like our winners from yesterday, Baptista and Soule, there wasn't much between them, so they both have equal pace. But there'll certainly be a strategy if you do have a definitive Pro-Am pairing. You want to keep that pro in for as long as he can. So you see they're going to pit probably towards the end of that 35-minute mark versus the slower driver getting out a little bit earlier in that 10-minute window.
Looking at some of the other notables in our field, has a lot of problems here for some incidents, a lot of body damage, and unfortunately, I don't see that yellow Bentley.
It was a massive hit here yesterday, and what a bittersweet day for the K-Pax team, getting the victory in the Pro-Am division and overall with Baptista and Soule. Yet Perrin had a massive run going early in the start of the race, but major contact, and they'll see no further action this weekend. It's been a rough start to the year for Alvaro Perrin, our 2016 champ.
Yeah, and that whole K-Pax racing team, a lot of incidents, but like I said, bittersweet with that Rodrigo Baptista winning there yesterday. He'll start from the front row here today. Just a few moments away as we get ready to start things off for the round at number 4 of our Sprint X category here at Circuit of the Americas. As we look at this field, 17 car strong GT Cup. We have our Pro category, our Pro-Am, and then our GT Am. And yesterday's race winner, Martin Fuentes and Cesar Baccarella.
Third win on the trot, so we'll see if they can make it 4 for 4. They've certainly got a dominant car. Martin laid down a really fast lap. He lined up on the second row of the grid, which was an excellent starting position for that team.
Well, our third member of our broadcast crew, Ryan Marine, is going to be down on pit lane to give our command.
All right, race fans, it is now time for the most famous words in motorsports. Please welcome from Pirelli North America, our guest to give the command.
Drivers, start your engines.
Well, Orazio Mastraccio doing a great job giving that command for us here today from Pirelli Tires. NAFTA, just a great partner that we've had with Pirelli.
It really is. It's a superb partnership. It works both ways, and I think Pirelli are learning a lot on the racetrack and certainly providing our competitors with an excellent tire.
Yeah, it's great to see, and you see that Audi RS5 pace car driven by Pirelli World Challenge competitor Michael Taylor pulling that pace car away. I want to give a huge thank you to Audi, providing our RS5 as well as our Audi Q7 medical vehicle here that'll pace the field. Looking at our Pirelli storylines, Calvin, I think Sprint X category 2-driver format got to be a factor here today.
It does, and we saw a lot of the teams there. You got a 75-second delta that you got to work with. When you hit pit lane, you got to basically say 75 seconds on pit lane or more. You see some of the teams really executing that a little bit better than others. You ideally want to be within a few tenths of that. If you're under that mark, you're going to serve a drive-through penalty, so you've got to be right on the numbers there. But I think looking at it, can the Bentley suite, they've been so strong here yesterday, only one Bentley in the field. The Porsches, they're struggling. The first Porsche on the grid is the number 54 Black Swan car, with Jerome Bleekemolen starting that car back in the 8th position, so it's been a tough day for them. Let's not forget, Scott Hargrove, his car will start from the 9th position with Wolf Hensler. They've got a lot of work to do.
And that was based on overall fastest race lap yesterday, not necessarily pace. So if you can race good, you may have a stronger car. We did see the Porsche of Alec Udell finishing in that 4th position.
Yeah, that's a great partnership there. Corey Lewis did a great job and took advantage with some misfortune with other competitors late in the going, but that was a great run for that team with a top 5 finish.
Well, let's get back down to Ryan Marine for some stories here going into this race.
Thanks very much, Jeff. Well, one of the big stories for me is, can CRP Racing finally break through? This team has been so strong all year long, going at the overall championship perspective at least. 4 consecutive top 5 finishes, including podiums in the first 3 races, but no wins yet. Even their non-podium finishes and top 5 finishes, they've run up front. Misfortune has set them back. Could this be the race where they can get that first win, whether it's overall or in class? We'll find out soon. We know that Daniel Morad is fast. Fabian Schiller has been awfully fast. He'll get the start here today, and I expect him to go challenge for the lead overall right off the bat.
Well, thank you, Ryan. And you talk about that incident they had yesterday on pit lane with the wheel nut, just the wrong wheel nut. The little mistakes like that, Fabian Schiller, a drive-through penalty for contact. Cal, that team really needs to recover.
Yeah, and as Ryan mentioned, they've been super consistent, had the electrical glitch in the sprint round at Long Beach. That cost them a bundle of points, had a very strong car yesterday. Morad put the car on the pole, led early, then Baptista went to the front, and then the miscue on pit lane cost him a lot of time, but Schiller was on the charge. He was back up in the top 5, trying to make a move on Pompelli down into turn 1, didn't make it stick, and turned Pompelli around, got the drive-through penalty, but they have a fast car, and I think today may be their day.
We'll see how that plays out with the DeVilbiss Mercedes and all of our cars in the field coming up next. Well, field is lining up side by side. It is Rodrigo Baptista and Maxime Soulet leading in that Bentley, the number 3. He'll have the outside, which is the pole position here for that rolling start coming up to the green flag as we're ready for round 4 of Sprintex here at VIR. As waiting for that green flag. There it is. We're green. It's underway as the cars get away. Looks like Rodrigo Baptista able to pull just a little bit over Murad, but he's going to have the inside down to turn 1, Cal.
Look at this, 3 wide as they get down towards the brake zone, and Schiller takes that Mercedes to the front. Scott Heckert looking for the long way around in the number 80 Lone Star Racing Mercedes as well. He may be up to the 4th position early around the Ferrari Motorsport Ferrari early in the going.
But look at Martin Fuentes, 3rd place in our GT Am category. He's running 3rd overall. First in that category is, looks like, I think Scott Heckert looking to the inside, trying to make a move there.
Yeah, he's trying to put the pressure on early, and I don't think the Ferrari boys expect to see their number 61 car championship leader shuffle back early. But look at Schiller, he's just taken off in the early going.
Martin Fuentes, Scott Heckert, that ACS manufacturer Mercedes had that incident with Mike Skeen yesterday over Alvaro Print in the Bentley. Got a penalty. It was a stop and go plus 3 minutes. Ultimately, it was really just kind of a racing incident, but you were at fault for the incident. They got that penalty. Looking to recover today, sitting 4th overall, 3rd in class.
Hensler's had a really nice start in the number 96 Porsche, and now looks to the inside of the Mercedes as they come into Oak Tree.
Yeah, you see that Lamborghini Dream Racing, Alessandro Brisson behind the wheel there, sitting 6th overall. Going to go to the outside of the inside, still trying to get temperature, trying to get debris cleaned off the tires as Maxime Soulet in that Bentley weaving down the straightaway.
Yeah, he's obviously struggling for grip here. And look at this, 3 wide as they come down. Oh, that's awful close there as Hensler drops wheels on the approach to the roller coaster.
Oh, just not what you want to be doing at 160 miles an hour into the speed trap.
Yeah, Molina seems to be struggling here for grip in the early going. I expected him to be going at the front. He is going backwards right now.
Just not enough temperature, not enough air pressure yet as things are trying to settle down, coming onto the straightaway to complete lap 1 here today.
A lot cooler here today. Ambient temperature about 15 degrees cooler than the race yesterday, so it's going to be an adjustment for these crews as Hensler piles on the pressure on the Ferrari Motorsports Ferrari.
Oh, there's Hensler down to the inside into the braking zone. Porsche traditionally has always had better brakes than any other GT3 car. He makes that pass, able to pull ahead now into 5th.
Yeah, Hensler's on fire right now. He had a lot of pace yesterday, had a great run going. For Molina and Tony Vilander, his teammate, they just got to be patient here. They have the championship lead, have been shuffled back here a little bit. Some of that may be that starting tire pressure. Maybe they just went a little bit lower than some of the others. Maybe they'll start to get into really sweet spots and get more laps on the board.
Field filling through, but Schiller able to get that lead. He had the inside groove into turn number 1 on a rolling start. Per the rules here at Virginia International, the outside actually is the preferred starting position for pole, and maybe that was a bit of a disadvantage here today.
Well, I think Morad was certainly up to the task yesterday. He got a big jump, so even though he started on the left on the outside, he got a big jump as they went to the line, and he was able to establish that inside line. Soulet wasn't able to do that, and allowed Schiller to take advantage as they got into the brakes for turn 1.
Well, that battle for 3rd overall. And in the category, you got Martin Fuentes in that Scuderia Garage Italia Ferrari 488 GT3. Here's the battle now for 3rd overall in our Pro-Am category as Mike Skeen way on the brakes.
Heckert's in there super deep. Brisson is having a really strong run here, though, in that Dream Racing Lamborghini.
Well, Scott Heckert in that ACS manufacturing has just done a superb job coming in here to Pirelli World Challenge in that Mercedes. Alessandro Brisson in that Dream Racing Lamborghini, still running Pro-Am with Yuki Hirata.
Heckert has experience here, but on the short course with his NASCAR experience, so he hasn't really raced on the full course until this weekend, but doing a tremendous job. He and Mike Skeen are proving to be a formidable pairing in this championship.
He ran here in the Sin R1 GT4, but the number 55 Dream Racing Lamborghini is your Optima Battery Best Start of the Race Award, earning 2 positions on that very first lap.
Yeah, he's having a great run here.
Did you see Martin Fuentes over Scott Heckert? What a great drive for Martin.
Yeah, I mean, he is up to the task. He loves driving this Ferrari. He's going for his 4th consecutive win in the Sprintex competition. He just loves taking it to the big boys in terms of the overall positions.
And of course, Brisson running in 2nd in our Pro-Am category with Yuki Hirata as Soulet teamed up with Rodrigo Baptista in our Pro-Am category, sitting 2nd overall right now, 1st in our Pro-Am category.
This battle intensifies here. Heckert really tucked in there as they come through Oak Tree, trying to get the power down early and get a run down this back straightaway. Brisson goes with them. What does that Lamborghini have as they get to the halfway point? Heckert now trying to jockey for position here, but Brisson has a run. Heckert takes over that lane, can't get alongside Martin Fuentes, tries to take it in super deep. Seems like that Mercedes can really roll some apex speed there, Jeff.
Oh, he sure can. He gets right down on the brakes, but the grip and the off drive that Ferrari has down here through the S.
Oh, Heckert's wide,
really
super
great.
wide.
Oh, that's really scary there, too. You drop some wheels off, you shoot all the way down that hill to the left. Great save by Heckert as Martin Fuentes still in our Pro-Am and third overall for that podium.
Yeah, Heckert there just missed the apex, but collected it nicely and recovered. And look at that, down to the inside, hard on the ABS. He takes that position away. Does he open up the door for Brisson? He does. Fuentes struggling for grip here, drops 3 positions.
I think he knows that he's a big picture here. He's won 3 in a row, leading the points 5 so far, if you include the sprint category for Martin Fuentes. No, does not want to give that up. I was trying to talk about earlier how Wolf Hensler looks like he might be the benefactor here as he's able to close in based on the gap there between Fuentes and Brisson and Heckert.
Well, certainly Wolf is a great teammate for Scott Hargrove as he goes after these championships this year. They'll go for the Sprint X Championship as a pairing, but let's not forget these points count towards the overall championship where Hargrove is in a fierce battle with Tony Vilander in the Ferrari.
Well, you see, there is Wolf Hensler in that Porsche continuing to battle on.
Big settling back in here. Brisson, oh, Heckert's wide. Wide through Oak Tree. Can Hensler take advantage as well? I'm not sure if there was contact there or whether Heckert just missed his line a little bit. Either way, Brisson is through.
No, Wolf Hensler will have the advantage if they're side by side down here. Just that quick little kink to the left. And no, Hensler gets that pass made. Can Heckert try to capitalize and go back to the inside? He's not able to do it as Hensler gets that spot down the straightaway.
Tell you what, Fuentes has really dropped back a long ways, so I'm not sure if he just got out in the marbles there and is having trouble getting grip back in that Ferrari. But look at the gap that's been established by Hensler and company over just half a lap since those passes.
Yeah, now it's going to be Miguel Molina going to try to get around his basically Ferrari manufacturer teammate, so to speak, and see if he can run these leaders down in the category. But it is still Fabian Schiller leading in that De Vilbiss Mercedes. You can see the gap here between Maximine Soulet and Rodrigo Baptista. It is overall position first and second, but there is your leader in our Pro category and Pro-Am first and second overall.
Soulet just laid down the fastest lap of the race at 1:43.8, so Schiller certainly had his car come to life very early in the run. Now Soulet is starting to find his sweet spot.
Well, we talked about that bittersweet 4 Bentley with Rodrigo Baptista winning Pro-Am and overall yesterday, but man, on the lower end of the spectrum, Brian Marine's caught up with Alvaro Perrin.
Yeah, it's a shame to speak to you under these circumstances, Alvaro. Another big hit for you in the race at the very beginning yesterday. First of all, are you feeling all right?
Yeah, look, I'm feeling all right physically. I was very lucky, that there's no big issue with the body or nothing, so I was quite lucky. I went in backwards. But just feeling very bad for the team, for Bentley, for K-Pax Racing, and when we don't have a car, it's the first time for me and the team, not even racing today. So just feeling really bad about that, and it's a real shame, some of these drivers not being aware on first laps that you can have cars side by side and you've got to give a bit more room. And look, if I went in forwards, I could reopen all my injuries, from the other weekend. But look, yeah, looking at the positive, Max Soulet and Rodrigo Baptista, they won yesterday. Great victory, and Max looks like he's closing in. And they're looking strong also for today. We'll see what we can do, and for sure we'll try to get the car, repaired or find something for a solution for the next race weekend.
Thank you very much.
I think big picture for Perrin, he's got to look at the fact like the Bentley is starting to show some strength. The first couple of rounds looked like they may have picked the wrong horse this year, but now starting to find a stride in some of these different circuits.
Really is on this first Category B rated track here at VIR. Let's take a quick look back at the action that we had yesterday, including that incident with Alvaro Perrin. some of the great shots here for our drivers getting suited up and getting ready. Waiting for that green flag here. Just the great shots, these beautiful machines. This green flag there, you talk about Murad getting that gap.
There's a Mercedes front row, but Murad from the outside just got the big jump. And this is the incident that Alvaro was talking about. Contact with Mike Skeen there. Massive impact to the rear end of that Bentley. Just written that chassis off. They're going to scramble actually to get a car ready for Canada in a couple of weeks' time. But nonetheless, there you can see that Alvaro Parent, with the severity of that crash, very lucky to walk away.
Remember, this was the spare car after his incident in St. Pete with the primary car, so that's why they don't have it back up at the action. Rodrigo Baptista getting around Morad for that lead.
Well, he tried it earlier and couldn't make it stick, and then a little bit later, Shaponik and Askew have an incident down into Oak Tree. Number 63 car finally got back into the action, but up front in the top 5, Schiller on the rebound, gets inside of Pumpelly, turns him around. He'll get a penalty for that incident.
And Pumpelly did a great job getting that Porsche right back underway, was right on the gear shifters, but it was Rodrigo Baptista, Maxime Soulet able to bring that car home. P1 overall and first in the Pro-Am category. Superb drive for that pairing.
Well, the team were able to celebrate after what was a rough start to the weekend. Martin Fuentes and his teammate Cesar Baccarella, they celebrate their 3rd victory on the year in class.
Yeah, leading that Pro-Am category, and then the GT Cup class, Tyler Hardwick getting the win there in his Lamborghini, but the man of the hour, Rodrigo Baptista, just a superb drive as an AM, leading overall, handing it over to his co-driver to bring it on home.
Yeah, he's an amazing talent, and I'm looking forward to seeing him get back behind the wheel here. As he'll be going up against Daniel Morad. That should be a fierce battle in the second half of this race today.
Well, it looks like Max is closing that gap a little bit, as Alvaro alluded to, as the gap's less than a second now in that Bentley. It looks like it's coming back to him.
What's amazing is Brisson has just laid down the fastest lap of the race in the number 55 Lamborghini, so he is flying right now. 3rd on the road right now, Alessandro Brisson. What a move he's making.
Yeah, had an incident here in testing on Thursday. Was Brisson with his teammate. They took the rest of the day off to get that Lamborghini repaired, and what a great reward for all the hard work that crew did, Cal.
Yeah, it really is. They're showing tremendous pace. Yuki Hirata's done an amazing job this year in the overall championship as well. As we look up front here, Schiller has just kind of stabilized his pace a little bit. Soulet was coming at him with a hard charge, and now their lap times have kind of equalized a little bit. Certainly Soulet will start to get that aero wash effect and following the car that closely as we now look at Brisson as he comes on the front straightaway.
Yeah, you can see that gap, and boy, he really pulled away from Heckert too, as Heckert started to drop back. Still sitting second in our Pro category, but 4th overall with a couple of our Pro-Am cars slotted in between that. Wolf Hensler able to get around. Earlier, you saw him get around Martin Fuentes, and Martin sort of slotted himself ahead of the factory Ferrari, Miguel Molina and Tony Fietlander, number 61, back in 6th.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on with the number 61 car, but they are not making the pace that I expected here today. Molina way back in the 7th position overall, 4th in class, of course, so it'll still be good points, but let's not forget your points are based on your overall position, so still not a good day for them right now.
What a great story for Dream Racing in this Lamborghini. Yuki Hirata, they have a driving school out at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. Yuki went through that, wanted to drive some exotic cars on a vacation. Really enjoyed it, liked it a lot. Yuki, a past downhill World Cup skier, and one too many incidents. The knees aren't quite what they used to be, and decided that I want to keep racing. And they brought him through their driver school, their program, got him licensed, ran some Super Trofeo Lamborghini Cup events, moved into Pirelli World Challenge competition last season, won the GT Cup Championship, and now into full GT3 machinery.
Yeah, it's really been a superb transition into these GT3 cars, and he seems to be more at home here than he was even in GT Cup, despite coming off a championship season. So been very impressed with that whole effort this season.
You can see all 3 of our Ferraris and all 3 of our categories nose to tail there. You got our GT Am with Fuentes, Miguel Molina in our Pro category, and then Wei Lu and Jeff Siegel in our Pro-Am, and that number 31 winning at Circuit of the Americas, and they've done a great job. Jeff Siegel behind the wheel now with Wei Lu.
Yeah, Jeff Siegel's been super impressive, as has his teammate Wei Lu, who does not have the experience level, of course, of his teammate, but learning the ropes quickly. But he admits that this racetrack, Virginia International Raceway, is a totally different cup of tea compared to Circuit of the Americas, where you have those massive runoff areas. This one gets your attention. You've got to be really up on the wheel.
Of course, Ferrari of Vancouver and that TR3 racing team, Daniel Mancinelli in the sprint category at Long Beach won in that car on the streets of Long Beach, so we know the car can make it happen too.
Seagulls now coming under pressure from Ryan Diel. Remember, these two had contact at Circuit of the Americas, so you know that Ryan Diel's going to be hammered down right now and trying to get that position away. He wasn't real impressed with Jeff Siegel, who admitted, listen, I just made a mistake, but I know there's a little little feistiness there behind the wheel for the Scotsman driving the number 19 Audi for True Speed.
We'll see these two cars battling along. The Ferrari's in front of them as we get ready to set up for our pit stops coming up. A little less than 10 minutes till that pit window opens. Stick around. Well, welcome everybody here to world-challenge.com for our live web coverage here at the Pirelli World Challenge Grand Prix of Virginia, presented by Audi Sport. Jeff Leopard, Calvin Fish with you. We have Ryan Marine down on pit lane. You're enjoying our coverage through our website or the app on our Pirelli World Challenge fan app. Make sure you download that at Google Play Store or the App Store, as the battle is heating up, Cal, here between Fabian Schiller and Maxime Soulet. It's starting to become a really big battle here, nose to tail.
Yeah, Soulet's right in the prime position right now, trying to make a move into the braking zone there, setting up for the roller coaster. So he'd love to get that position and maybe gap the Mercedes a little bit before this pit stop, giving his team a little bit more time to execute and get it right. But you know that Schiller's going to be determined here. This team won here last year with Ryan Dial and Daniel Morad in Sprint X competition. So they love this racetrack and have a good notebook to work from in terms of the setup. But look at Soulet, he's getting the power down, good traction there. That Bentley's really been performing strongly here all weekend long.
Well, you mentioned that first win for Daniel Morad here last season. Ryan Marine has caught up with him down on pit lane.
Yeah, thanks. Talk about Daniel Morad here. You and CRP, you've been looking for that breakthrough win here this season. You've been awfully close. You've run strong in every single race so far. And now running up front, how about that start from your teammate Fabian?
Yeah, I think great start. Yesterday, it was a bit unfortunate. You know, when one thing happens, it just seems to tumble. And yeah, I mean, yesterday was not a great day, but so far Fabian is doing an amazing job for the De Vilbiss car. Yeah, our Mercedes AMG is phenomenal on cold tires, so you can see that gap really open up at the beginning. The Bentley's quick. I mean, it has 5 to 8 miles per hour on the straight over us, so it's really, really difficult to keep it behind down that back straight. But so far, Fabian's doing an awesome job, and I'm getting in the car soon.
Thank you very much. Good luck.
Perfect. Thank you.
Like Daniel related to the fact that Mercedes comes alive early and the Bentley a little bit later in the run. Look at that, Soulet trying to get in that position. But the one thing about the Bentley, even though it takes a little bit of time for those tires to come to life, that means they're really good over the longer run. So we expect Soulet to continue to mount the pressure here during the first half of this race.
Well, that K-Pax racing machine, Opticoat, coming on board with that K-Pax team this season, and they've had to put that Opticoat to some good use with all the damage and bodywork they've had to do this season. It's just been heartbreaking, and one of the hardest working crews, that Prep by Flying Lizard Motorsport team. Spoke with Darren Law yesterday, and he says he hasn't even had a chance to catch up on the billing and the invoicing for all the parts they've had to get.
Just an amazing season. It's hard to believe. I spoke to Jim Huey, the team owner, this morning, along with Tommy Sadler, who kind of heads up getting all those parts and cars put back together, and they just shook their head. They can't believe it. They just got to keep dusting themselves off. Certainly getting that victory yesterday helped ease the pain a little bit for all of the damage to the number 9 machine.
Well, you can see Soulet looks like he's better on the back half of the course versus the front half of the course, still sitting second overall, as Martin Fuentes in that Hublot Alpha Prime Ferrari, able to still lead over the factory Ferrari of Miguel Molina. So he's doing a great job showing that he belongs there. Took a year off last season, ran Ferrari Challenge. He was your 2016 GTA champion. 5 wins on the season, looking for number 6. 3 wins in a row in the Sprint X competition. He's dominated before, as he did in 2016, looking for the same here this year, Cal.
Yeah, and winning becomes a habit, you know what I mean? You expect to win. I think Martin shows up at a racetrack now, and depending on his teammate and everything, he expects to win. So it's a nice habit to have, and he's found a nice group to work with this year, and continuing to impress in terms of his lap times. I mean, he laid down a lap that put him on the second row of the grid amongst everyone, and showing his pace early in the going. Not sure what happened when he got past there down in turn 1. He lost a lot of ground, so I'd assume he just got some marbles on his tires and had to clean those off a bit.
And talking about Alessandro Brisson earlier, he just resets that fastest lap once again at a 1:43.310. Still doing a great job in that Ace 1 Dream Racing Lamborghini Huracan GT3. We spoke about Yuki Hirata will take this over. He won the GTA category at Long Beach on the sprint on the streets, and in between the St. Petersburg race and the COTA race, welcomed little Ricky Hirata. So new daddy is Yuki too.
Certainly hasn't slowed Yuki down any. He's been a man on a mission this season, and obviously very content in life and with his racing program.
because Monaco is his hometown right now, but the family's back in Japan, so mixing his time between there and the States. I'd hate to see what his travel budget is for the year, as Schiller able to gap a little bit over that Bentley, and I wonder if the Bentley started to push a little bit and tried to make a move and decided maybe that's not where he was. Now this is where the Mercedes shines through here, and it's that back section that the Bentley's a little bit better, so we'll see if Soulé can close that gap on the back stretch and down into roller coaster and the hog pen.
Yeah, Schiller is super clean up through the S. He really uses much of the curbs, and unlike Coda, where he's thrown in at the deep end in terms of the late call to be part of this program, he certainly knew that he'd be part of this weekend, so he's had a lot of time to work on the sim, and he showed up and talked to Daniel Moore, and he said Fabian was immediately on it, whereas at Coda, it took him several sessions to get on the pace.
Yeah, it was enough. I think it was the Tuesday night of race week in Germany when Fabian got that phone call saying, hey, you're going to America, having to apply for the visas, passport, make sure you got all the stuff. Actually missed the test day on Thursday because he didn't get in until that evening and stepped in, and they were at the head of the field. And like you said, Cal, now able to prepare for this race, looking on the sims, the computer programs, looking at data from last year, and some good data with Ryan Diel and Daniel Mrad getting that win.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's key, and I think that's why this car's, you know, what Ryan talked about, the consistency with this group, and are they knocking on the door for this first victory? I think it's because they're now their second year with the same chassis and same setup. They're going to be stronger this season.
Tyler Hardwick in that Lamborghini, another one of those Dream Racing Lambos with Mountain Motorsports prepping this car as well. And Tyler's running single duty here by himself. He still has to do the pit stop, still has to do the tire change with that team, but there will not be a driver change. His normal co-driver unable to make the round here this weekend. And Tyler, the past jet ski champion racer, going to four wheels now in the closed cockpit, doing a great job. Has a good partnership with Simcraft. If you search on Google and YouTube and look at some cool videos that Tyler's done with that organization on the craft, is Soulé, yeah, closing that gap ever so lightly back again.
Yeah, and this is the tough part of the racetrack to follow closely, because you're pretty much running blind at flat-out speeds through the S's, so it's a big challenge just when you're alone, let alone when you're right on the tail and can't really see through that Mercedes to see what's coming. Just hope that the guy in front of you doesn't make a mistake and you follow him off the road.
Our pit lane opens in about just a little over 2.5 minutes for that Delta. Now this is most of the time, especially on our Pro-Am category, I think we'll see a lot of the pros stay out a little bit longer. Did you see the front of that Mercedes there in the braking zone?
But oscillation there, something's amiss with the aerodynamics on the front end there. It's pretty bumpy as you get down into the brake zone there, so that may be some of what we're seeing, but don't see on the other cars like we did on the number 2 machine.
Well, you can really see Fabian Schiller all over the curbs there, down in roller coaster, through hog pen, onto the straightaway. Able to still maintain that gap, doing a great job for CRP Racing and De Vilbius.
It's fun this year with that mandatory tire change, Jeff, that these guys just wring the neck of these race cars. They're not having to think, how hard do I want to push? How much tire do I want to give to my co-driver when he jumps in? He's got to have something to survive with. But right now, in these closing laps, right before the pit stop, they're going to be using this car up, using the tires up, just trying to create a bit of a buffer.
We talk about that Pirelli P0s, now the tire, it's the allocation you get this season instead of having to qualify on those tires that you're going to start the race on.
Yeah, essentially you get 4 brand new sets plus a carryover set for the GT class. It's 3 and 1 carryover set for GTS that runs here this weekend as well. But it's enough tire allocation, but you certainly don't want to use them up in practice, and make sure you have some really strong, fresh sets, if not new sets, for the races.
Well, Fabian Schiller down in the braking zone of Oak Tree, still leading over Maximine Soulé in the Bentley as they're nose to tail. Just a few moments here, about 1:20 until our pit lane opens. I think, Cal, they're going to cross that finish line before that pit lane opens, so they still have to do another lap before they're able to come to the pits.
Yeah, it'll be another lap for our leaders, so you could in fact see some of the guys at the tail end of this field be the first to make their pit stops. Last year it had to be the opportunity for the leader to have the first opportunity to make that pit stop. This year, as soon as the clock hits 25 minutes, anyone can dive down pit lane.
When you see the front of that Mercedes, Cal, a little oscillation there on the bodywork, and you saw him trying to find a gap to try to stop that from happening in the braking zone.
Yeah, there's obviously something going on with the front splitter or something. I can't really see his speed. It looks pretty good there as he heads down the front straightaway, but should be next time by for these leaders. Will have the opportunity, but for some of the cars a bit further back in the action, they may be able to have an opportunity to jump into the pit lane early.
Yeah, you can see there it is on the braking zone again. Something loose, and it looks like it's heavily on that left side. They'll probably take a quick look during the pit stops, but they're not going to have enough time to really do anything with the 75-second pit stop delta. And you can see him fighting that car now, trying to see if he can get a good, clean braking area. Possible issue on your leading car right now.
Well, he's doing a great job of hanging on to this lead and not making any major mistakes right now as Soulé continues to put the pressure on. Prasanna's closing in on this on these guys, though. He continues to run very fast laps on still 143 range as he runs in the 3rd position with the number 55 Dream Racing Lamborghini.
Now remember, Fabian Schiller will turn this car over to Daniel Murad. Maximine Soulé is going to turn over to Rodrigo Baptista, but this is a Pro category leading overall. In the Pro-Am category, 1st in class, 2nd overall. And Alessandro Brisson, Yuki Hirata, 2nd in the Pro-Am category, but 3rd overall. So I think we'll see in the Pro-Am category, Cal, we may see these pros stay in a little bit longer.
Yeah, for sure. You want to maximize the fastest guy. You basically run them right up to that 35-minute window. You have to be in pit lane before the clock hits 35 minutes. Otherwise, you're basically not going to get scored for the rest of this race. You can't afford to cut it too close. You see that vibration again right into the brake zone.
Now, we haven't seen it yet, but could that possibly be maybe a flat spot as well on the tires? We'll see if that changes on the tire change.
I was thinking about that a little bit, but I think we would see that pretty much everywhere other than just into the brake zone. So we'll have to try and get a read on that. We'll see when we get a fresh set of tires on there as he ducks in, and he's inside the window. So here comes Schiller. Maybe he's saying, I got a tire issue. Let's get these off as soon as I can. It's going to be Daniel Murad who's going to be jumping in.
Will be Maximine Soulé will come down and take over the lead as he crosses the line. Alessandro Brisson as well as Ryan Marine down in that De Vilbiss pit.
Yep, as Daniel Murad hopping in, Fabian Schiller, an impressive opening stint, grabbing the lead there on the first lap, and he's held it ever since, despite some pretty heavy pressure. Daniel Murad got a big pep talk from his team before he jumped over the wall to hop into that CRP Racing Mercedes-AMG GT3. They went through the protocol, how they were going to go over the wall, how they were going to change the tires, making sure driver and tire changer didn't get tangled up in any way. They got it squared away. Remember, they had an issue with the wheel change yesterday. No such issues here. As the final tire goes on the right front, the P0 getting bolted on now. And Daniel Murad trying to bring this thing home for the first win of the season for CRP.
They're looking at something on the front end of that car, Ryan, before sending him. Nick Short's there on the wall as well. They definitely got some duct tape back, trying to do an effect to repair.
There's Spencer Pompelli turning that car over to Michael Christensen. They're down on pit lane as well, just waiting for that pit delta. It's 75 seconds, and Fabian Schiller, Cal, not a good pit stop.
No, it's 80 seconds. They lost 5 seconds to their competitors on that pit stop exchange, which will probably cost them. So if Soulé comes in, you'd assume that when everything shuffles through, that they'd have the advantage on the racetrack. And they're probably in two minds of whether to spend the time and see what sort of fix you can get. Something is amiss with the front end. They had some duct tape over the wall there. It's going to be sticker tires here for Daniel Murad. He's got to tread carefully, even though it seems to bring these tires to life quickly.
Well, Scott Heckert, Mike Skeen turns that number 80 Mercedes over only 75.761, so 3/4 of a second past that delta. Good timing there, Cal.
Yeah, really well executed pit stop there for the Lone Star Racing team. And again, I can't see anything. When you look at this car close up, I don't really see anything as you see Daniel's sparking out a little bit before these tire pressures really get to their optimum range. It's going to drop the ride height of the car until they build pressure. He hits the rub blocks here.
Yeah, I think the key will be at the end of this back straightaway how much oscillation there will be, or oscillation, so to speak, in that front body work. That's where it really showed on Schiller's car as Miguel Molina brings that number 61 R Ferry Motorsports Ferrari down here on pit lane, turning it over to Tony Vilander.
You can see the body language there. He's shaking his head. He's throwing his gloves off. He is not happy with the pace that he had in that race car here today. So they missed on something, whether it was a setup change overnight, maybe a set of tires that didn't get pressure to get them into their sweet spot. But he really struggled. The good news is you get a reset here. Maybe they can make a slight adjustment on this second set of tires for Tony Vilander.
Drops the jacks there, and now Maximine Soulé did another lap. I don't think he'll pit this time. Maybe still about 5 minutes to go till that pit lane closes, so there's still another chance to do a lap. He still has the pace. His last lap at a 1:44.1.
The only gamble you're running here, is if you saw a caution, suddenly that would bite you as he now hits pit lane. I think that's the wise move for the K-Pax team.
And he pushed right to the edge there, flying them 160 miles an hour almost in the speed trap. So you know he was pushing as hard as he could to get a good lap here on his in lap, turning that car over to Rodrigo Baptista as Alessandro Brisson goes to the overall lead in that Dream Racing Lamborghini.
Going for the sweep. He's going to jump in here. What an impressive young man he is. Multiple victories last year in the GTS car. A little bit of miscommunication here on this tire change. Doesn't look to be routine.
And Ryan, you're down there in that Bentley pit.
I sure am. Taking a look around, there are a lot of tired eyes in this K-Pax pit area. This team has put in more work this year than anyone has any right to expect from them, and yet they keep coming back. Talking to Darren Law, the program manager, yesterday, this win overall for this bunch, this number 3 squad, that was a huge lift of morale. It's really given them an extra bit of motivation, so to speak. They're going to keep fighting on for the team that's not in the field right now after the accident yesterday. Now we'll see if Rodrigo Baptista can bring it home.
That's a good way to heat up those rear Pirelli P0 tires when you leave. We'll have to look at that pit delta, make sure he is not underneath that 1:15.75 rule. He's not. He's good on that, but one car that wasn't good, Cal.
Hard to believe the R. Ferry Motorsports team have made a slight mistake. 74.2 seconds. They're 3/4 of a second underneath the delta. That'll mean that Tony Wieland, he'll be furious behind the wheel of that number 61 Ferrari. He's going to have to do a drive-through penalty for being too shy on that pit lane delta time.
Yeah, 1.2 seconds over that pit lane delta. It was for Soule and Rodrigo Baptista. We'll see where they play out here. Alessandro Brisson still on the track. He's got about 3.5 minutes to go before you have to make that pit stop. Martin Fuentes, once again, still staying out there with his teammate Cesar Vaccarella. He's going to do one more lap, so he'll have to pit next time by. So 3.3, almost 3 minutes here to still get that done. You're doing about 1:40 lap time, so you won't have a chance to do 2 more laps, but definitely one more. He'll be on pit lane this next time by.
Yeah, and as you mentioned earlier in the event, Jeff, your quicker drive, you're going to want to keep them in there as long as they can. So Martin has a little bit of pace over Cesar. Jeff Siegel has a bit of pace over Wei Lu this weekend, so they keep those guys in as long as they can. And Ryan Dial as well. He's really closed up on Jeff Siegel, but not been able to make a move here in the first half of this race. It's going to come down to a battle of the pit crews here to see who can maybe jump each other in pit lane. But I think Baptista will be told, listen, the 2 car at a slow pit stop, just tread carefully on these cold tires. The race lead should come back to you.
Yeah, got to think that looking on the timing and scoring right now, Baptista is ahead of Morad. So we'll see after these pit stops with these 6 cars in front. And it's, you got Fuentes, and you got Jeff Siegel,
look at this.
Ryan Dial, and Bleekemolen.
Big move by Siegel there, down to the inside of Martin. I'm not sure what's happening there, whether Martin had a little moment or was just gathering the car up. I didn't see anything.
Now, Ryan Dial trying to see if he can make a pass. Every position counts here, and every little mark that you can gain to give your teammate that's going into the car an advantage. As Dialgo looking on the inside of Martin. Is Martin going to have a problem or an issue here? He looks like he's way off the pace.
Yeah, that's strange. We saw it after he got past earlier in this race, suddenly struggled for half a lap or so. So I'm not sure if he got wide and just struggling for grip. He is way off pace right now as he should be preparing for his pit stop.
As your overall leader, Alessandro Brisson, brings his Lamborghini down on pit lane, turning over to Yuki Hirata, and he does not look up to speed at all.
Maybe they can do a quick fix here as Bleekemolen's had a really strong run. Look at him, he's right on the tail of Dial as the 54 Black Swan Racing Porsche makes its pit stop. Brand new chassis underneath those boys this weekend, having struggled with pace at Coda. They found some damage to the chassis, had to necessitate a new monocoque essentially.
See, there comes Cesar Vaccarella down into that Hublot Ferrari. They're blowing some of the radiator ducting and the ducting work on that Ferrari out, so I'm not sure if he had an off perhaps, but he saw the big clouds of dust as they complete their tire change in that Hublot Ferrari. Waiting for everything to cycle back through, and I believe, like we said, on our scoring pylon right now, it shows Baptista ahead of Morad.
One more lap and timing and scoring will cycle through, but I think you're right, Baptista should have the lead of this motor race. It'll really depend on Brisson's pit stop If they get really good in and out lap, Yuki could be close to Baptista. Baptista will have tire temperature, whereas Yuki will not.
See, the Ferrari team was checking something out there on the left rear. Going to have an extended pit stop. Jeff Siegel, Wei Lu, they cross, they're okay. The Parker Chase is okay. Likamolin, Pappas, they're okay. Fuentes, they're okay. Actually, only 2 seconds over. Not too bad.
Yeah, be curious to know if there is something amiss with that 07 Ferrari, because Martin definitely struggled on that final lap before he hit pit lane. Up front, timing and scoring, which will be based on he hit the stripe also in pit lane, so it's showing Harada as the leader right now, but got a feeling Baptista may have the lead when we start to see some pictures of the leaders right now.
Well, pit lane is now closed, so all pit stops should have been completed by now as we get caught back up in the action here today. Well, big developments here for the number 61 R Ferry Ferrari. Impeded the 96 car on pit lane, so that's going to be a little bit of a penalty. But Cal, we're looking at the timing charts as well. They were a little too fast on pit lane.
Yeah, so I'm not sure if it's going to be a double penalty or just one drive-through, or maybe a drive-through and a hold for if there was, not being clean with the other competitors on pit lane. But either way, not a great day. Is even getting worse for our championship leaders.
Oh, tight there. It is Scott Hargrove over Tony Vilander. Tony Vilander's going to try to want to make up everything he can. They did have a race control message that said the 61 had to let the 96 go by, and I got to think he did that as Hargrove is in front of that Ferrari now.
Understand Baptista on hot tires has gone to the front, so it's Baptista over Morad, over Skeen, over Harada right now. This is a battle for fifth position that we're looking at right now with Hargrove and Vilander and Christensen, but obviously Vilander got to serve a penalty yet. Yeah,
word from race control is that he did let the 96 go back by, but now he has to drive down pit lane for a drive-through penalty. Too fast on pit lane, but Rodrigo Baptista in that K-Pax Bentley able to leapfrog over Daniel Morad in that De Vilbiss Mercedes on the pit stop delta. It was 3 seconds on the pit stop in the difference, and you can see where it was on the track and how that relates.
Yeah, and that can certainly make the difference. You don't want to cut it too close, but if you have a slow one, I think the team were just in two minds there, whether to try and make a fix on the front end, maybe a splitter issue with the number 2 car or not. But either way, that slight delay has lost them some track position, and Baptista is already laying down purple sectors, which means he's fastest of the day in certain sectors of this racetrack. So the Bentley's come into its sweet spot once again, with the tire pressures now up on those Pirelli P0s, and Baptista getting the job done.
Yeah, Baptista was 0.2 of a second quicker that previous lap than Morad. Ryan Marine, what are you hearing down on pit lane?
Yeah, checked in with the R Ferry guys about the 2 penalties, and they said, well, we gave the position back for the impeding penalty that they incurred on pit lane. As far as the pit lane delta is concerned, they have the same data that we do. They said, yep, we just were a little too quick, so have to serve the penalty.
Yeah, you have a frustrating, like we talked about with Daniel Morad earlier, Cal, when one little thing happens, it just chain balls and the snowball rolling down the hill.
Yeah, you live and die by the sword. That gained them track position at Coda. They were within a few hundreds or thousands of pit lane delta there and gained track position. Today, they were having a bad day, try to cut it tight, and just underneath that 75-second mark, so they'll have to come back. That vibration, as you can see, is getting more and more severe. So I have to feel that something in that under tray on that front end on that Mercedes has come adrift, and Morad's going to be struggling with that. He still seems to have good pace, but certainly his vision into these brake zones is going to be affected.
Yeah, Ryan mentioned they did put some duct tape on that during that pit stop, so we'll see if that's going to help at least hold it together a little bit. Now it's even on the straightaway.
Something's coming loose here. And I think maybe why we were sitting just in the brake zone is that maybe when you get on the brakes, you're getting a slightly less ride height at the front end of the car, and that's affecting that oscillation. But he's in big trouble right now. So we talk about the consistency, but having these little issues, something definitely amiss right now with that number 2 machine.
And Ryan is caught up with Schiller in that car when he made the pit stop leading.
That's right. You noticed that vibration as it developed because the team came in and they were working on something during that pit stop. What did you feel? What can you imagine that Daniel is dealing with right now?
Yeah, actually we have a small issue with our front splitter. So the front splitter isn't like 100% settled. That creates big vibrations on the straight. So whenever we go like above 200k, for example, 5th gear, 6th gear into the braking zones, the front is like jumping big time. So there's huge vibration in the front, and that makes it drive very, very difficult actually. That's something I already struggled with from the start on, but it was not too bad in the beginning, but it got worse and worse and worse. And I think now with Dan, it's pretty bad actually. That's what he said in the radio. So yeah, hope to make it to the end of the race, and then we will see just, yeah, what happens.
The plan then is to keep him out there and have him deal with it until the end of the race?
Yeah, for sure, that's the aim. Let's check out if it works, but yeah, normally the AMG is quite solid, so it should work out.
Thank you very much.
All right, there's 2 big problems right now, Jeff. One, he's got the problem with his race car. The other problem he's got a faster Mercedes right behind him. Mike Skeen just laid down the fastest lap of this race at 1:43.194. He is a man on a mission, and that team is determined to rebound after the incident yesterday and maybe score a victory. Skeen has pace right now. There's still some time on the board as this issue continues to magnify for Daniel Morad.
And he's just going back and forth, trying everything he can do, Cal, to just disrupt that air, so to speak, over the front nose.
Yeah, I'm not sure if he's just trying to determine what's going on. Maybe he thinks he's got some pickup with the front tires or something, but I think there's definitely an aero issue that initially was magnified under braking as the splitter gets closer to the ground, but now something's come adrift.
Now you look at Mike Skeen's front of his Mercedes, that's the way it should look, right? It's you know, really putting the power down and just betters that lap once again last time by, down to a 1:43.004, a couple of tenths quicker.
Baptista, I think he's probably got enough here to maybe make a charge after Morad, but Baptista continues to impress, running very consistent lap times, running purple sectors as well through sector 2, so that Bentley is definitely hooked up. It's not going to come easy, but Morad is in trouble. My concern is with the amount of vibration now, what else will it loosen up on that Mercedes? And Morad really loose there through the S's.
He's going to lose that front grip with the different oscillations, and just even your vision that you have to see. If you got any teeth fillings, he might be knocking those out, as well as Mike Skeen charging now on the back bumper of Daniel Morad, trying to see if he can make a move here. Got the turn signal on that Mercedes to the right. Trying everything he can as Morad back and forth, just trying to see if he can get rid of that oscillation on that Mercedes.
Yeah, and for Skeen, he's probably thinking, what the heck is he doing? Is he trying to defend position or not? But obviously, Morad in trouble here, gives the position away. So Skeen through to second. He'll be about 3 seconds behind Baptista. Does he have anything that he can dig deep and find in terms of pace and catch that Bentley for the victory?
Well, Mike Skeen moves into second place in that ACS manufacturing Mercedes as the battle continues on. Well, the challenge for that De Vilbiss Mercedes continues with the front end on that. He lost a position to Mike Skeen, Cal, and you can see Mike Skeen now is lapping a little bit quicker each and every lap over Rodrigo Baptista. Identical lap time, about 2 tenths quicker than Baptista.
Yeah, he's got pace, but Baptista has a bit of a gap, and he's also got a very strong Bentley underneath him as well. So I don't think it's going to be easy for Skeen, but for Baptista, he'll have gained a lot of confidence in terms of the pace that's gradually been developing over the season, and certainly the Bentley seems really strong here this weekend. I don't think he's going to give it up easily, but Skeen is a man on a mission. So on the pole here last year, just missed out on the pole position yesterday in qualifying to Daniel Morad. And then he had the contact, unfortunately, with Alvaro Prent that caused him a 3-minute hold in pit lane and ruined their day. And they're just trying to bounce back here.
See Mike Skeen coming out of turn number 12 onto that straightaway. There is the gap as you see it on the screen, right at 5 seconds. And here's Cesar Baccarella in that Hublot Alpha Prime Ferrari. Not up to speed. His last lap at a 1:47.004. David Askew in the Mercedes from Security National Mortgage DXTT Racing at a 1:46.5. Not sure if there's an issue there. We saw right before the pit stop, Martin Fuentes was really slow, Cal.
Yeah, I've got a feeling there's something going on with that Hublot Ferrari. Unfortunately, they've shown tremendous pace, but maybe they have enough of a gap here that Cesar can just continue and get the child on top of the checkered flag. There's a big gap over David Askew, even though Askew is running slightly faster lap times right now.
Yeah, I think that's a 26-second gap back to second place, so he's got a little bit of time to get acclimated to this car and get up to speed. We'll see if those lap times can drop here as David Askew just sets his fastest lap of the race so far at a 1:46.159. So he's going to try and see if he can run down this Hublot Ferrari. I know the crews will be talking to him and letting him know, hey, that your leader could possibly be in trouble, as Mike Skeen 0.8 of a second quicker than Rodrigo Baptista as Parker Chase spins off.
Sister car had a moment there, the 71 machine earlier in this weekend, so unfortunate for Parker there. They had a pretty strong run going. He's got to recover here. Let's take another look at it. Oh, just misses the apex a little bit under pressure there.
Oh, just right there in front of Alec Udell too. And Udell having a good run, sitting 5th overall in our Pro category in that low-key Porsche, but good time they didn't get collected up there.
Looking at that front radiator grill, doesn't look like he cut through too much grass. Earlier in the weekend, we had a lot of rain earlier in the week, and guys who were hitting the grass were just skating off and getting into trouble. But right now it's dried out a little bit and a little bit safer if you do have that off-course excursion. But certainly Skeen is charging hard. Really just laid down the fastest mid-sector here. So Skeen is on a mission right now. He is catching Baptista. Does he have enough time?
And Ryan got an update for us down on pit lane.
That's right, talking to Mike Skeen's co-driver, Scott Heckert. Tell you what, this Lone Star bunch, wherever you show up, you're awfully fast, and now Mike's running down the leader. You think he's got the car under him he needs to get a win?
Yeah, it's a real testament to these guys back at the shop. AJ, who heads the bunch, he is meticulous with every detail, and it shows on track. So I think that he's got it. He's a local hero around here. You know, he knows this place like the back of his hand. So he's been great to learn from. My first time here, so you know, just try to keep it in a position for him to go hunt the leaders.
What are the team's plans for the rest of the year? I believe this is the last one that we knew about for sure, at least.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know yet either. It'd be nice to leave here in a good spot. You know, yesterday was a bad deal, but you know, coming back today with a good finish would put us in a strong position. Hopefully, you know, maybe to finish out World Challenge, but who knows?
Fingers crossed the rest of the way.
Thanks.
Yeah, it'd be great to see if they can get the funding and complete this Sprint X program, because they're certainly very much in the mix every time they show up. Skeen has the experience, but Scott Heckert's certainly been doing a great job as well. And at this pace, Jeff, Skeen has the ability to catch Baptista.
Yeah, only 12 minutes to go in this session. If he keeps that 0.8 to a second quicker, we'll see about 3 or 4 more laps. Skeen should be on that back bumper of Rodrigo Baptista. And remember, they're still going for that overall battle in the championship in the GT category, with Pro-Am leading over Baptista. So the Pro-Am slash there, but Skeen once again resets a new sector time.
He does. He was 3/10 up in Sector 1, 3/10 up with a new fastest Sector 2. So Skeen has gained at least 6/10 on this lap as he now completes it. Last time across the stripe it was 3.3 seconds. Let's see what the gap is now to the lead.
Waiting for him to come across the line here. 1:43.5 for Baptista. Oh, superb time for Skeen, Cal.
A new best lap of the day at 1:42.7, and the gap is down to 2.6 seconds. Baptista is going to feel the heat shortly from the local hero. As his teammate said, Mike Skeen is on a mission right now for Mercedes.
Just doing a great job, that Lone Star Racing team. AJ Peterson prepping that car, and there is the gap. You can see it's one of that sort of the dangle of the carrot, trying to run it down as well is one of the advantages for Mike Skeen. You see that gap closing, it just gives that extra little motivation to keep going.
This is where it gets difficult when you're running in a different class, yet you have the overall lead. How much does Baptista put on the line? Potentially give up the class victory by just trying to keep the lead over Skeen, but I think he's a fierce competitor. He's going to give it 1,000,000% here trying to hang on, but he's going to be feeling the heat here in about 3 or 4 laps.
You can see as Baccarella continuing to lead in the GT Am category, and he's slowly getting up to speed now at a 146.051. So whatever issues that car had before, just trying to get the temperature and the pressures in that Ferrari 488 GT3, looks like he's starting to get that done. As still leading over about 28 second now gap.
Looking at the sector times, Skeen took 3/10 in sector 1, but Baptista is responding. He laid down his best, personal best, sector 2, pretty equal there. So Baptista has the message. The K-Pex boys will be on the radio saying, Skeen is coming, dig deep, what do you have left? They'll be telling them there's just 10 minutes to go in this race.
Tyler Hardwork right behind our GT Am leader there in our GT Cup. Lamborghini able to continue his lead even after the pit stop delta. Won there yesterday, trying to see if he can extend that lead out. As here is Skeen now battling with Rodrigo Baptista, trying to make that move for the lead, Cal.
Wow, there must have been an incident in traffic because he suddenly made up 2 seconds in this sector alone. So Skeen is all over him. Have to feel that Baptista got it wrong in traffic a little bit, who was balked, but either way, the battle is on for the lead.
Yeah, we saw that number 45, Larry DeGeorge, right there behind him in that Lamborghini from DXDT Racing. So yeah, you got to think that maybe lap traffic played a role in this. Mike Skeen on the battle and the charge right now.
Yeah, Baptista lost over 2 seconds in the last sector alone on that final lap, and Skeen is all over him.
You feel for Rodrigo, but like you said, with that class victory in the Pro-Am category, looking at big picture here, leading the points, he's got about a 10-point lead over Yuki Hirata and Alessandro Brisson, and they're all the way back in 6th overall for overall category points. So how much do you push here? Mike Skeen, you know he's quicker, but you still want to win overall and get on that top step of the podium.
Well, we know Baptista is a fierce competitor, watching him race last year in the GTS class with 4 victories, but right now he's already taken to that left-hand side. He doesn't want to give up that entry point to the brake zone, so he's making that move early to prove that he's not reacting to any move from Skeen. You can see there the Bentley a little bit stronger down the straightaway as he extends the lead, but Skeen is in great rhythm. Maybe he can take advantage on sheer pace. Maybe he has to wait for an opportunity in traffic once again.
As the K-Pax Bentley comes over the curbs down here to lead another lap, 8.5 minutes to go. And we talk about that incident with Alvaro Pro with Mike Skeen, and you know, he did get the penalty for accident responsibility, but really it was just a racing incident, to tell you the truth. You know, when you see the data, look at all the cameras and the different replays, it was just 2 guys in the wrong place at the wrong time.
Mike is a super clean driver, and it was just he didn't realize that Alvaro had made the big move to the inside. I think he was so far inside he couldn't even see him in his side view mirror, so he just thought he was clear, made the move over to the right to set up for turn 3. There was the contact, cold tires, Alvaro went for a ride, but look at this, Skeen using all of the road, all of the exit curbing there. No track limits in effect here this weekend, which is great as we go to an old school racetrack. Skeen on the attack.
Yeah, you see that ACS manufacturing Mercedes right behind this Bentley, and he's sort of caught up to him now, and you get that dirty air, so to speak, off the back of that Bentley, and it doesn't look like he's able to close the gap very much, especially in the tighter proportions where that Mercedes excels.
Yeah, I think Baptista is savvy. I mean, he made his intentions clear when he made that run down the back straightaway as to where he was going to put that Bentley. And you'd have to think that he has the advantage there down the straightaway as they come up on David Askew's having another good day here for the DXDT team. Former sailor, I was talking to him this weekend, he said he had a nice victory. He's running these Volvo 70, these 70-foot monohulls, and he won a big race, Sydney to Hobart, Tasmania, and he said, I find racing a very similar dynamic and enjoying his racing these days.
You can see Rodrigo already flashing those lights on his Bentley to David Askew up in front of him, trying to get him cognizant of, hey, I'm coming through, I'm battling for this overall lead, please don't hold me up.
Yeah, this is where he caught that Lamborghini previously, so I think he may be timing this just right. Not that he has a lot of effect on, he's not going to slow down to time it, but right now he needs to try and clear David Askew down into this brake zone, where I think he will be able to do.
And oh wow, what a great job David Askew did, just getting out of the way, lets both of those leaders through. Superb job there.
Well, Skeen had the pace, he had the rhythm, but right now it's been stymied a little bit, and you kind of lose that rhythm, you lose that momentum, and you start to run at the same pace as the guy in front of you, Jeff. So Baptista may have enough in hand, but you know Mike Skeen's going to give it everything. A lot of family and friends here this weekend. Resides in Charlotte, just a couple of hours down the road. He wants to bring home a victory if he can.
Yeah, we were talking to the team a little bit earlier, and they actually recruited Mike's dad to come in and help do the lollipop for the pit stop. They were a crew member short, so bringing that whole family in to make this happen.
It's one of those moments where you think you don't want to see that social media. You had one thing to do, and you got it wrong, but it seems like they had a good pit stop, so you must have been doing the right things.
Come down this braking zone here, turn number 10. 11 and then turn 12 onto the straightaway. The oak tree used to be right there. Now they planted a little smaller tree there. They call it the son of oak tree. See if we can grow that back out. Nice historic turn number 12 here at Virginia International Raceway.
Yeah, Baptista is just praying that he hits this traffic in the right spots. Up ahead of him is Dory Cheponik, who's back in World Challenge action. Saw him compete in GTS a couple of seasons ago. He's teamed with Brett Sandberg, who won that championship. Oh, Baptista, a mistake! Gets in deep. Can Skeen take advantage? Skeen looks to the inside. Baptista hanging on for dear life right now. Can Skeen make the move as they come onto the front straightaway?
And ran a little bit wide there too. You saw that Bentley moves. He goes down to protect the inside. Skeen with the draft. Can he make a move down here in turn number 1 to go for that overall lead? About a 2-car length gap. We'll see what happens here into the braking zone.
Under 5 minutes to go. Baptista takes the inside line. What can Mike Skeen do here? Can he tuck to the inside? Can he get the power down and tighten his hands? Baptista under pressure, hanging on.
Wow, just a good battle here for our overall lead. Mike Skeen able to use all the way to the edge of that racetrack there in turn number 4 through turn number 5, right on the back bumper of that Bentley as they head onto the straightaway through the S's.
What can Baptista, this youngster, do? Can he survive the pressure from one of the stalwarts of GT racing here in Pirelli World Challenge, Mike Skeen?
You see, once again, Baptista on the headlights for that Bentley, looking at the lap traffic through the climbing S's into the right-hander turn number 9.
Skeen is going to be praying that the leader gets balked a little bit with this traffic up ahead. Dory Cheponik running with the True Speed team in that number 71 Audi. See him just a few seconds down the road. Where will they catch him? How will they encounter that traffic? Can Skeen take advantage? Certainly as a little bobble by Baptista getting super deep into that brake zone.
Yeah, you can see the crew here for ACS watching intently at one of the big screens around this track to see where their driver can make that move. As Rodrigo down that straightaway, a little bit bigger legs on that Bentley, able to pull that gap to about 3 car lengths into the braking zone. As Mike Skeen closing back in here, bouncing that Mercedes over the curb, right on the back bumper of Rodrigo down into the downhill into hog pin.
Oh, even Baptista was really riding the curbs as well. He needs to clear Cheponik here as they get down into the brake zone. He does not want to be slow through turns 1 and 2. He's flashing the lights. Does Dory see him? Yes, he does. He opens up the door. Skeen goes with him. No advantage either way right there. Both leaders clear the traffic nicely. Nice job by Cheponik, noticing they're coming up and clearing the way. Tyler Tadovic would certainly have been on the radio. They got Peter Barron working with him as well. A lot of experience helping out Dory. Oh, look at this. Skeen looks to the inside. And he makes it through. What an opportunistic move there. Tenacious driving by Mike Skeen.
Oh, just caught Rodrigo right off guard, I think, there, Cal. What a superb move that was.
Wow, that was unbelievable. Baptista thought he had the line, and suddenly Skeen stuffed it down the inside before Baptista could respond. What does the youngster do now? Can he get in position? Skeen has to get through these final few corners of the S's cleanly, getting the power down out of Oak Tree, because that Bentley's going to be coming back at him. Oh, Baptista's wide again. Baptista is just pushing too hard. He's off.
Oh, and he's into the wall. See, we talked about this. Where do you give up? How much do you push? And it looks like he's stalled it. He has to get it refired. Daniel Murad is 16 seconds back overall. You got to go back to 7th overall with Yuki Hirata, who's 42 seconds overall. Before he would lose a Pro-Am position. But, oh, yeah, you see that. How far do you push? And that's going to give a lot of breathing room to Mike Skeen.
Well, I think he realized he had to be close to Skeen coming through Oak Tree to get a run down that back straightaway. Maybe his final opportunity to get the lead back. Just pushed in a little bit too deep, just got wide into that brake zone.
There's that pass, Cal. Walk us through it.
Well, you could see there Baptista thought he had him covered, and Skeen just dived to the inside, caught him unawares, and before Rodrigo could respond, Skeen was through.
And they come down into that turn number 11, entering Oak Tree, and you said you saw Rodrigo just go a little bit wide there, just pushing that brake zone a little too hard. Got that car in the wall, refired, and back underway, but lost the damage was done.
Yeah, he was thinking ahead. He was thinking ahead to the next corner. I've got to be closer coming through Oak Tree, and just push too wide through there. And once you get offline there, you're kind of turning, and there's nothing you can do about it. You're basically along for the ride, and you normally end up with that gentle nudge into the tires, which he's probably got away with. Maintains top 5 position right now, but that's going to hurt him dearly. Just a little mistake by the youngster.
Oh, he actually lost a lot of positions, yeah, because he's back in 5th overall. Daniel Murad was trying to salvage anything he can in the Pro category, and he moved up to 2nd. Scott Hargrove, he's going to move into 3rd now, with even Christensen getting around Baptista.
Yeah, I'm surprised he lost that much ground. So it's over 20 seconds in that exchange, and several positions, obviously. Talk about doing a great job when you're not having a great weekend. Scott Hargrove up there in the 3rd position.
Yeah,
just digging deep, and with a 61 car of VLAN, this will really help his cause in the overall championship.
And I believe that started all from the start that Wolf Hensler got in that Castrol Porsche. But here is Cesar Baccarella, your GT Am leader, getting the white flag as he comes through. His last lap at a 1:45.070, but Mike Skeen enters roller coaster in that ACS Manufacturing Mercedes AMG GT3 down through Hog Pen onto the front stretch. A little redemption from yesterday, able to get the win today, and a superb drive by Scott Heckert and Mike Skeen for the win here today.
That was awesome. That was a brilliant motor race. Just kept digging deep. Made the pass on Morad, who was in trouble with the front splitter, obviously. Morad hanging in there nicely. He'll come across the line in 2nd, so big points for the CRP team, despite damage to the aerodynamics. Actually, going? Yes, he has. Morad in trouble on the final lap. Hargroves moves up to 2nd. Christensen 3rd. Morad 4th. Drama for the number 2 car on the final lap of the race.
And Baptista got around Morad right at the end, but after the line, so Baptista will get credited for 5th overall, but 1st in our Pro-Am category. But Hargrove, wow, you talk about recovery, all the way up to 2nd place.
Wow, what happened to Daniel on that final lap? That aero effect must have been getting worse and worse. He couldn't hang on to it, and he lost 2 spots there on the final lap. That will hurt.
There's our GT Am leader in that Hublot Ferrari Alpha Prime. Cesar Baccarella, Martin Fuentes starting this car, and Cesar's done a great job getting up to speed, keeping that car going. Has a lead over David Askew by about 32 seconds for 2nd place. His best lap at a 1:45.0, and really only about a half a second slower than Martin Fuentes' best lap at a 1:44.7. There he is, flashing the lights, coming across the line and getting the win. 4 wins on the season, perfect in Sprint X, and 6 wins for Martin Fuentes when you count his sprint victories. Superb run here for that Hublot Ferrari.
Yeah, an amazing run, and I'll be curious to talk to Martin and find out exactly what happened on that last lap before his pit stop, because he definitely lost a lot of pace. Maybe just dirt on his tires, and he's just trying to play it safe and get it home.
Yeah, got to think Cesar Baccarella, Martin Fuentes doing that. Getting word from Ryan down there at CRP Racing that it appears Daniel Murad possibly ran out of fuel. Wow. Just right there to the end, just 1 lap here. As Tyler Hardwick, our GT Cup race leader, coming around down into the roller coaster into Hog Pen, looking to see if he can make it 2 in a row here today in GT Cup, that Mountain Motorsports Dream Racing Lamborghini with the win. Congratulations to him getting this victory. Wow, Cal, we had to catch our breath on that one. That was exciting.
That was dramatic. A lot going on. Hats off to Skeen and Heckert. And Morad, as you can see, he probably is out of gas. Can't even get it back to pit lane. And he'll be disappointed. Potential victory went away. Looked like he's going to have a solid runner-up finish. And then inside of the checkered flag, issues.
Yeah, able to get 4th place classed overall, 4th in our Pro category. But there's the man of the hour, Mike Skeen. His teammate Scott Hecker starting in this car, put them in position to get that lead. And Mike Skeen able to make that tremendous pass over Rodrigo Baptista for the win. Good shot of that Loki Porsche. Alec Udell, he'll slot in 6th overall, 5th in our Pro category with his teammate Corey Lewis here this weekend. But man, that ACS Manufacturing Mercedes, superb drive once again from Mike Skeen.
Yeah, and it's really going to tighten up this championship. I think the R Ferry Motorsport team may hang on to the championship lead in Sprint X competition, but it's going to be very tight with Hargrove finishing in the second position and big points overall as well. Lots of consequences here this weekend at VIR. We knew it would be a challenge. Mike Skeen is fired up.
Oh, he is. That's what. Not very emotional is Mike Skeen. It's kind of hard to see him talk like that. I think that's the most movement I've ever seen him make. But great to see him get that win here today. Congratulations for that team. Dan Knox and the ACS Manufacturing campaigning this car as well. But Scott Heckert, Mike Skeen stepping in here this season. Hopefully we'll see Dan return to the driver's seat of this car here pretty quick.
A lot of emotion right there. His girlfriend team will celebrate here. Brilliant performance, digging deep, and a great move for the lead there.
Good. Congratulated there by Greg Gill, President CEO of WC Vision, the whole team down there. Ryan Marine down with Mike Skeen now.
Mike, that was one heck of a celebration. This is a home track for you. How special is this win?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we got a lot of friends and family out here. I love this place, very close to my home in Charlotte, and especially after a disappointing day yesterday. We knew coming into this weekend we thought we had a really good car and we wanted to make the most of it and qualified up front, and then to lose out so early was frustrating. Yeah, to come back from, you know, P5 on the grid to finish up front today and battle it out and a nice clean car at the end is awesome. So glad.
Now, you were working on Rodrigo for a while trying to set up that pass. Take us through how you got it done.
Yeah, it was tough. You know, I caught up to him with the help of some traffic. He got slowed up in Hogpen. I had to follow him a couple laps. They've got a bit more straight line, so I knew I had to find a tricky place to make it work, and got close enough to him going into 4 to make a run and dive it down in there. Yeah, just glad it worked.
Congratulations.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Well, of course, Scott Heckert, his teammate, starting that car. He comes in there for the congratulations hug from his teammate. Good job for him. As we look at the results here in our Pro GT category, it is Mike Skeen, Scott Heckert, Scott Hargrove, Wolf Hensler able to get second in that Castrol Porsche. Number 24 Porsche, Michael Christensen, Spencer Pompelli in for third place. Daniel Murad Schiller able to hang on for fourth. We talk about Alec Udell, Corey Lewis in fifth, and Vilander Molina rounds out your top 6 in Pro.
Yeah, and it's going to really tighten up the championship unofficially. I think Vilander and Molina just hang on to it, but just by 2 points over Hensler and Hargrove in Sprint X competition. So this battle is going to continue at the next round at Lime Rock Park when we have Sprint X competition once again.
Well, they may have lost the battle here for overall, but winning the battle and the war in the Pro-Am category, Rodrigo Baptista, Maximim Soule. Ryan, you're with them.
That's right. We'll start with you, Rodrigo. Another class win, but perhaps a little bittersweet because you were fighting for the overall win. That said, given how much this team has gone through all throughout the year, how important was it to bring home at least a class victory to go along with the overall win from yesterday?
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's a little bit... I'm a little bit unhappy because 2 laps to go I lose the overall win. It happens, it's racing, and I'm still happy to have the GTA win, so yeah.
And Maxime, for you, this World Challenge thing's a little bit new. How have you enjoyed your experience to this point?
I enjoyed it a lot, you know. Racing in the US is quite something special. Yeah, no, I enjoyed it quite a bit.
Congratulations to you both on the class win.
Their first competitors, I don't think either one is happy. Even though they got that class win, they had bigger plans in mind for tonight to celebrate.
Yeah, absolutely. But, wow, you talk about that for that. And then looking at our Pro-Am category, Rodrigo Baptista, Maximine Soule with that win. Yuki Hirata, Alessandro Bressan in second in that Lamborghini. Great drive by Alessandro at the beginning of this race to get that second place in our Pro-Am category. Wei Lu, Jeff Siegel rounds out your top 3. Parker Chase, Ryan Dial in fourth. And Tim Pappas, Jerome Brickelmolen rounds out your top 5 in our Pro-Am. Just great runs from all of our competitors and all of our drivers here. I just want to give a good congratulations to our GT Am race winners once again. Cesar Baccarella, Martin Fuentes in their Hublot Ferrari, and then David Askew getting second place. Well, that's going to conclude our coverage here for GT Sprint X competition, our Pro-Am, Am, and GT Cup competition, part of the Pirelli World Challenge Grand Prix of Virginia, presented by Audi Sport. For Calvin, Ryan, and our entire CBS Sport Network crew, I'm Jeff Lepper in association with WC Vision. This has been a presentation of CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports.
Yeah, that. Either way.